Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
I need new music.
Discover new music now. JJO.
What's up, Madison? This is Chris Kale. Discover Five Finger Death Punch. Brand new stuff now on JJO.
Joining me, a fella that really needs no introduction, but I'm going to tell you just so we can do that weird transition thing. Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch. Zoltan, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, man. Super excited. You know, a couple of days away from the tour, a couple of days away from the new record. So this is the time, you know, when this is Christmas for us. Fans got to open the presents, you know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
This is the time.
You guys got those tinglies, those pre-album, pre-tour tinglies, I'm sure, going on.
Oh, yeah, you know it 100%. I mean, it really feels like that, you know, something that you work really hard on. You know, you put your time, your soul, everything in it, and then you're about to give it to the fans. I mean, this is really, you know, that time for us, man.
Well,
this is why we do it, you know?
If it makes you feel any better, we also have those pre-album and tour tinglies for Five Finger Death Punch. I can feel it. I can feel it down deep, so we're good.
We are tingling you. I like it.
It's a good tingle. Well, yeah, you led me right into the first thing we got to talk about is the new album, Afterlife, August 19th. It'll be the 9th Five Finger Death Punch album. What to you is the key behind the staying power of Five Finger Death Punch and why we're here 9 albums later?
You know, I think it's because this is what we always wanted to do. You know, this is something that, you know, us kids, you know, when I was a kid, I promised myself, one day I'm going to go to America, you know, and when I was a 12 years old kid, right? I'm going to go to America, I'm going to play guitar, and I'm going to be in this rock band, and I'm going to tour the world. And, you know, that was the dream. We never gave up on the dream. So that's the, you know, and every single one of us in the band sort of have the similar story. Mm-hmm. And once we got our foot through the door, we got our first record deal, we never took it off the gas pedal. So that's from the band's perspective, you know, we spent 200 plus days on the road every year, you know, and just banging out albums after albums, you know, every 2 years or so. So we are here at the 9th album. So we were working as hard as humanly possible. And beside that, you know, we had this connection with the fans from day one, you know. In fact, that's how this band got signed in the beginning, that, you know, back in the days when MySpace was the center of the universe, right? You know, we put up a couple of songs, and the Five Finger Death Punch became the most downloaded, you know, band at the time, passing all the, at the time, major label bands. And so that's how people and record labels start to, you know, pay attention to us, like, who is this band? You know, how the hell these bands are, you know, this band is getting this much attention. But see, what happened, we did that with our record label. That was pure connection between us and the fans, and we never forgot that, you know. So for us and our fans, this is really a tribe.
Yeah.
And it's very obvious. I mean, you know it, you've been around us for long enough. You come out to the Five Finger Death Punch show, you know that this is not just a regular show. This is a get-together. This is a tribe. This is really a family, you know, and I think that's why.
I love that answer, and you took me way back with the term MySpace. I haven't heard that in quite some time, Zoltan, so that was a nice blast from the past. The new album, Afterlife, again, dropping August 19th. I was looking at the track listing, and it's got some amazing titles on there. Do you have maybe a favorite song on the album, one that really stands out for you?
Well, it's this is the thing, you know, when it's like, which one is your favorite kid? You know, like, you can't really, you know, you can't. Well, somebody's getting upset if you answer that, right? So you know, this is the thing about this record. When we went to the studio on this one, we actually didn't really want to record a new album, right? Mm-hmm. Because F8, the previous album, we were really proud of, just came out, and it did great, but, you know, it was kind of T-boned by the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. So we didn't really get to tour on that. And at one point we realized, like, man, we don't know how long this whole thing going to take, so might as well we just go back to the studio. But that created this scenario for us when there was no deadline, right? And we were like, it's going to take as long as it's going to take, you know? Mm-hmm. And we just gonna, and it's the ninth album, so at this point, I guess we can record whatever the hell we want. People know our sound; we established who we are, so we can really experiment, and that's what came out of this record. Where I think it was real artistic freedom of let's just do whatever, and so all the songs are somehow connected because of that. In fact, in some way, it almost became a concept album because we're talking about various paradigm shifts just are happening in the world right now. I think spiritually, mentally, intellectually. So that's what the album is revolving around. I can't really pick one song because every one of them are special. There are, however, some songs that I think will surprise people. Like Judgment Day is very different from what we ever recorded. That song it sounds super different, but in the same time, it's Five Finger Death Punch when you hear it.
I love it. Yeah, I was looking at the track listings and things like Roll Dem Bones, Blood and Tar. I think we're in for one hell of a treat. Obviously, that's coming August 19th, so make sure you mark it down. And then you can see the full track listing right there. Now, you brought up something that was interesting with this album, and I wanted to get your take on that, because even seasoned veterans like Five Finger Death Punch, you kind of had to plant yourself with the pandemic and where you're at. Did that take a little bit to get used to having that freedom there?
Well, when I say that we had to replant ourselves, right? Like what really happened is for us, especially for me, it was a shocking time because on various way. One of the things is that we were forced into this break, right? Mm-hmm. Which as I said, I stepped on the gas pedal when I was 12 years old, and so far I never took my feet off, right? This was foot off. And so this was the first time when I had to. So there was this shock factor of like, whoa, the world just stopped, And I almost felt guilty. Like I couldn't, just sit in my pool and just like, okay, well, I guess we just sit home because I felt guilty of not working, I felt really literally like, whoa, what I'm doing now? What, And it took me a second to calm down. Like, well, hold on. No other band is out there working, so nobody's going to outwork you. But then it's sort of, evolved into this whole thing when I'm looking at the world, when everybody, the whole world sort of, got out of the hamster wheel for a second and started thinking about like, well, you didn't go to work. I mean, there was a segment of society that had to, obviously, the people, the nurses, everybody who were in that segment of society experienced a different way what happened, But people who had to stay home, and it's a lot of people, they had this shock of what are we doing? What's really happening here as a society, right? I get up in the morning, I drive to work, so I can make money so I can pay for the car I bought so I can drive to work. Those thoughts start to come up to people. Companies, drop their headquarters, drop their offices because they start to realize, like, do we really need this? People can work from home. So it's kind of shook up everything and everyone in various ways, and what life means and what's important and what isn't, and how fragile society is, and the infrastructure that we thought like solid can collapse in days, and so all those things I think scramble the world, and simply because of that, I think people start to have this awakening of thinking about life differently,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I meant. Like there is a paradigm shift coming. There people just and I'm talking about from the existential perspective of humans are. As beings on this planet, what are we really doing? What's important? What's not important? And so that's what I meant by a paradigm shift. And as for the freedom for us, that was more like the combination of this is our ninth record. We are well established who we are and what we do, and the fact that we didn't really have a deadline, and we didn't really have a solid idea like, oh, we have to do a record. I just was kind of like, well, let's just play. Let's just have fun, That was different.
What's up, everybody? This is Ivan Moody.
Hey, guys, this is Chris Kale.
Zoltan Battery.
A Five Finger Death Punch.
You're listening to Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJ.
Cause it's times like
and Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. It is Discover New Music. Joining me, Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch. I did want to say, or at least find the correlation, because you're extremely involved in martial arts. Like, you can throw down. Does that help you on the road? Does that training kind of make your body prepared for that rigorous Five Finger Death Punch schedule?
Yeah, actually, usually I break my body in these martial arts situations. So when I'm coming on stage, I'm usually limping or I have a broken rib, actually, because of martial arts. So it's preparing me to, when you see me doing guitar faces, right? Like I'm grinding my teeth, and you see these guitar faces. It's probably I'm just in pain, So people are like, look at that. He's really enjoying that guitar. No, man, I have a broken rib,
Yeah, I got that from the fight the week before. Exactly.
Right. But look, it's like it's being a martial artist. It's kind of the thing where martial art is not something you do. You become a martial artist. There's a big difference, right? Because it's the same thing. Like if you can fight, you go to if you can fight, that does not make you a martial artist. If you live by the code, if you live by the martial art principles, and adopt that to all your life, then you become a martial artist. And it helps me that way, that I have the philosophy. In fact, I believe that I became successful because I started martial arts when I was 9 years old, and my philosophy, how I look at life, was always through those goggles, that martial arts philosophy, And so in that way, absolutely a massive advantage, in my opinion, Yeah. When you learn certain things, like, if I go out and fight, I compete since I was a little kid, right? Still today, I compete in jiu-jitsu. And, when we walk out on the mat, it's like, if you're another guy, this is going to happen right now. So it kind of trains you, like, you have to deal with conflict, and if immediately and on the spot, right? So if you take that and put it in, and you apply it to real life, and you start to do those things, these principles of like, well, whatever happens, you're not going to just, sort of sweep it under the rug. You will deal with it when it happens, right? Good habit. Then the second thing of any kind of situation you get yourself into as a martial artist, let's say I get caught in a choke or an armbar, something unfortunate, right? Mm-hmm. Number one, don't accept the position. Because if you accept an unfavorable position, that's where things start to crumble. Now, take that out to normal, life. That's what happens. People accept a job, a relationship, something that is friendships that are okay, but not great. Don't accept it. Don't accept it. Accept the best. Don't accept anything subpar, because that's when things start to crumble, and that's where your troubles will start if you accept it, right? So these are all martial art principles that I'm bringing over to real life. And then on a more advanced level, if you got caught in that armbar or in that, choke, mm-hmm. I have to get out of it. I can't give up, right? So it's a good habit of whatever is happening, even if it looks bad, there's a way out. And I'm going to fight for that way out. And then when you get really good at it, then you're going to look at it. It's not just I'm going to fight my way out of this, but I'm going to use it as my advantage. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So if you bring that over to life, and all of a sudden, sometimes something happens to you that you would view as it's negative, it's bad, or it's disadvantageous, and then you start to look at these things like, well, how do I turn this around and make it into an advantage? And your mind start to think that way. Your mind automatically process everything in that manner. So when the adversity happens, you immediately like, okay, how do I beat it? How do I make it to my advantage? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You don't even give yourself time to moan about it, like, oh man, this happened to me. Yeah. That's a martial artist's mind, and I think that's massively helped me, in my career and with the band, running this band, and and doing everything is pretty much run on martial art principles.
I love it. I love that philosophy, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. To go along with that, I do, since you are an expert in the martial arts, was Daniel LaRusso's kick illegal at the end of the Karate Kid when he did the crane kick? Right? That was an illegal kick to the head, wasn't it?
Oh, you know what? I never saw that.
Oh man! Okay, well,
no, I'm not. I tell you the truth, I'm not a Karate Kid.
Oh man, I was hoping to get your.
I didn't.
Well, if you get a chance, maybe just watch it and get back to me on if it was an illegal kick or not, because you'd be the only one that would know. Well, hey, I really appreciate the time. Before I let you go, let's hit it one more time. The new album, Afterlife, out August 19th. You're hitting the road. You got some big hitters with you, The Who, Megadeth, and more. Five Finger Death Punch bringing it to us. Can we do rapid fire real quick, and then I'll send you on the way?
Yes, 100%.
Beautiful. All right, so there's no wrong answers on this. You just go with what's in your heart, and we'll see if we can get to learn you a little bit better. All right, first things first. Would you rather fly anywhere at 5 miles per hour or run anywhere at 100 miles an hour?
Ooh, run anywhere at 100 miles an hour.
It's a lot of work. But you're probably fit enough to do it.
I get there faster.
That's true. That's true. Hot dog or chili dog?
I'm going to go with chili dog.
Smart man. Would you rather see the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot?
Ooh, I'm going to go with Bigfoot.
Now, you're from Hungary. You were born in Hungary. Does Hungary, is there any Hungarian, like, mythological beasts that we need to know about that you know of?
No, not really. There, we have the deer or the deer with the golden antlers. Like we have this magical deer that led the Hungarians, the Huns, basically, into the land that Hungary occupies today. So that's like an old legend, but not really. Yeah,
not like El Chupacabra down in Mexico. A little bit different than that.
Yeah. No, I'm not aware of it. Like I'm trying to become the thing. I'm trying to become the monster. Like
that's right.
I can be the legend.
Okay. Would you rather fight a 3-foot-tall Mike Tyson in his prime? All right, so like 20-year-old 3-foot-tall Mike Tyson, or a 10-foot-tall Queen Elizabeth in like her 80s?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to fight a woman because here's the thing: if you win, you lose because you beat up a woman, right? If you get beat, if you get beaten, then a woman beats you up. So there is no winning. So this is going to be Mike Tyson. I mean, I'm going to go with logic here.
I like
Logically, it's Mike Tyson.
You're going to take on the 3-foot Mike Tyson. I love it. Awesome.
I will. Yes. I'm. You know what? The problem with that though, it's very dangerous because just think about it. If he's 3 foot tall and he just does a straight punch, where that's going to land?
You're done.
Oh, man. It's right in there, right? I don't want that punch from Mike Tyson, man.
Right in the beanbag. Lastly, obviously.
Right in the jewels.
Right in the jewels from Mike Tyson. That's worse than getting your ear bit. If you don't know, Erno Rubik was the inventor of the Rubik's Cube. He's from Hungary. Have you ever completed a Rubik's Cube done by the Hungarian architect Erno Rubik?
Yes, actually, that was a proud moment in some way, for Hungarians. But that Erno Rubik, that's his name in Hungarian, invented this. Little story about that. That when he invented that cube, he was trying to. Hungary was still like a socialist communist sort of country at the time, and he was taking it all over the country, and everybody just laughed at him. And then he actually had to take it to England to get that made.
Really?
So. Everybody literally turned him away like, this is stupid. And then this, and so because there is no private sector, or at the time there was no private sector in my country, you can't really just go to a company to make this. Every toy company that could have made it was owned by the government, right?
Oh.
And so once the government says like, this is stupid, then it's never going to happen. So he had to go, I think he went to Matchbox or Mattel or one of those companies.
Yeah.
To actually make that, yeah.
And that's how we got it. I just peel the stickers off and put them on the right way because I can never figure them out.
I mean, smart man. See what I mean? Exactly. It's one way or another. You're a task oriented.
That's
right. It doesn't
right.
matter how you get there.
Get it.
Hey, I like that. They're very martial artist of you, though.
Thank you. All right. Well, hey, thanks for humoring me, Zoltan. You are just such a great guy, and we cannot wait. The brand new album, Afterlife, from Five Finger Death Punch, August 19th. 19th. Go get it and then go see him on tour. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to see you in December, so this is happening.
Oh, let's get it. Let's get it. I'll have a Rubik's Cube waiting for you, all right?
All right.
All right. We'll see you, man.
brother.
Thank you.
This is the JJO Discover New Music Podcast. Listen, rate, share, subscribe. Discover new music now at WJJO.com, in the JJO app, or wherever you get your podcasts.